Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and this week we're doing another Trick Clinic episode where we're going to be looking at Leo Smezers' Turbo Stick. Let's do it. Thank you once again for tuning in this week to another episode at the Ian Bailey Magic YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed the content thus far, and last week I went through my summer EDC kind of gigging setup. I had a good response, lots of great comments and lots of great suggestions, so thank you so much for all of those comments. And this week we're going to do Trick Clinic, which is what I did last, the last Trick Clinic episode I did. I went over Jay Sankey's Magus capsule back from like the early noughties, I think it was. And I suggested a new prop, which hopefully a few guys have been playing around with and you've been enjoying that. And it's kind of either changing a presentation or changing a prop to kind of bring that, to kind of resurrect that trick almost and bring it up to speed and up to date. And this week we're going to be looking at Leo Smezers' Turbo Stick. Now, I'm a big Leo Smezers fan. I have his harmonica chop cup. What I like about Leo is he seems to spend a lot of money and time and effort into making very niche interest props. He's got tricks with nuts and bolts. He's got tricks with like a French horn. All sorts of kind of random things that either make a trick funny or make it kind of, I don't know, very out of the box and kind of, but also very everyday at the same time, like with the nuts and bolts, for me at least anyway. So it's really interesting things that he's releasing over at Holland Tricks, I think it was his website. I'll include a link below. But one trick that was released a few years ago with Richard Sanders was the Turbo Stick. This was a fresh take on the paddle, and basically it was essentially a whiteboard in the shape of a paddle, which allowed you to do the paddle move and all sorts with, to draw on it, to produce sponge balls, loads of different really kind of quirky thinking. And it was in a lot of gigging magicians' repertoires, and I can definitely see why. I've never owned it myself, kind of gone out and performed it myself, but the trick I really appreciate. And what I wanted to do is take that trick, but change the prop, because I think the presentation is phenomenal. I think there's so much stuff that you can do with this, kind of whiteboard idea. And I wanted to make it something that I would use every day at work as an electrician. But not only that, when I'm out with friends and all sorts, and it to not look too pre-prepared. I wanted to look more kind of everyday. So this is the prop that I'm going to show you. But before I do, let's watch the trailer to refresh your memory on what the Turbo Stick was and how great it still is. Here we go.
Hey guys, Richard Sanders here. I want to introduce you to a unique idea brought to me by Leo Smezers from Holland. It's a combination of a dry erase board and a paddle. Yes, I know, I said paddle. Let's begin. Now think about this. A dry erase board, you can draw anything on it and immediately wipe it clean with your fingers. Combine this with a paddle, and now you have a prop that you could literally cause anything you draw on it to appear, disappear, transform, move, change. A name could change into another name. This is really limited only to your imagination. You're going to receive a DVD that'll guide you through a number of really cool routines, all practical, all visual, as well as unique concepts and ideas. So I think you should check this out. This is Leo Smezers' Turbo Stick.
So there we go, a fresh-faced Richard Sanders. I say fresh-faced, he's, he wasn't really young back then, and even now he looks great, He's aged well, if anything, is what I'm saying. But anyway, we're going to be looking at the prop itself. So let me take you down to the top camera. So the prop that I propose to you today is not a paddle, but a pencil. That's right, I call it the paddle pencil. This is a typical Carpenter's pencil. I say typical, there are a few kind of very niche things that this pencil has over your traditional Carpenter's pencil. The first one is that this is a flatter design rather than rounder. That's not going to make a huge amount of difference when you perform, but it's something, you know, that if you have the option, it's better to go flatter in this case. So this is flatter, so easier to draw on, easier to write names on, or whatever kind of presentation you want to do. It doesn't have a logo. That's very important as well. If it did and it was near the top of the pencil, not a big deal. You could probably cut the pencil down and still use it. But if the logo was right in the middle, that'd be very irritating. So this one doesn't have a logo, which is great. And the third thing is that it's white and has kind of a lacquer on it. And this lacquer allows you to grab a whiteboard marker and do 3 big X's on, and let me do the same on the other side for completeness sake. And there we go. So now we've got our kind of paddle pencil. Now if I was to rub off one of these X's with the little rubber, you can also use your finger, it actually rubs off the other side. Weird. If I then rub off the next one, once again it rubs off the other side. Now if you didn't see that, I'll bring it back and we'll start again. But let me actually go down with this one this time. If I do it this one, it rubs off that one. If I do the middle one again, it rubs off the middle one. And so now we're just left with one on each side. But if you want, I can actually make it move up the pencil and down the pencil, just like so. In fact, if I was to rub it off completely, you end up with no X at all. However, if I grab a spare X and throw it back on, then you end up with the X on the pencil like so. That's the X routine off the download/DVD, whatever format it comes in these days. But it's a great routine, and there's so many other routines on that video. I say I didn't own it. I did own it, but I don't own it anymore, and I never went out and gigged with it. But I do really like the pencil idea, because once again, it's more everyday, and yeah, you're not kind of getting weird looks when you come out with a paddle, out of your pocket. So that's it really. These pencils, I had to buy like about 200 of them in order to buy that specific one. They only came in a pack of 200. I think I still have a few available on my website, and I think I used to sell them with the pen as well. So check out my website if you are interested in this specific one. But just go out to your normal stationery store or like a hardware store and just have a look around for pencils and see what works really. But that for me has really allowed me to do that routine without any weird looks. And that's nothing against Leo or Richard. The thing is, they want to create this prop that asks questions, that makes you ask questions, and that's great. Last week I talked about doing sponge bunnies. I'm up for weird props. I just want to say that I could use every single day, as I'm going about in my electrical job and performing casually. So there we go. That is the paddle pencil. Now, if you enjoy watching this YouTube channel, then please do subscribe, like, comment, etc. My last video, like I said, I got a lot of comments on that, and I really appreciate that. That was on my summer EDC setup for gigs. But there's a ton of other stuff on my channel, and there's a few ways that you can support me, if you want to support me, that is. The first way is by using my discount code for Alakazam. That will appear here on the screen. If you do that, you save 5% of every single order, and then I get given the 5% that you saved. So that helps me as well. The other thing is by looking in the description below this video and buying me a coffee. It's a small way of saying thank you, but I think the price of a coffee on there is, I think, about £5 they've set it at. But you know, that's a large coffee, isn't it? And a little bit of chocolate on top. But it means that I can then go out to a coffee shop and I can edit these videos, I can do the artwork and all of that kind of stuff while sipping a coffee supplied by one of my fans. So yeah, that's a couple of ideas. And the third way is by going to ianbaileymagic.com and purchasing some of the magic that I've created. I've created a ton of effects up there, and I don't have a Patreon, I don't have any kind of that regular membership. I literally put stuff out for free on YouTube, and hope that it then, you know, can transfer into you discovering some of the tricks that I've created. As well as that, you can also book me to lecture at your magic club as well. So these are all ways that you can support me. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we will be back next week with another video. See you later. Bye bye.